home because the kid the coldest. I ain't changed, I stay the same and maintain it. Safe to say the kid getting older. Forever gang, I'm never switching over. Made a lane and niggas can't get over. I can't mess with rappers, they be bogus. Rather get the pack and keep it open. Big dripper stand up in the ocean. Everybody trapping, we get lost. He ain't 4PF, but he ain't got motion. Made a half a ticket, not promotion. Shout out switch it sweet and keep me rolling. But if we get the out, we gotta slow. Ride around with Drake, like we OVO. I got some rats and I want some. Still got them pass in the hood, call it give and go. Keep a nigga, man, bitch in a figure four. Let me fuck when I want, I just come and go. Man, these rap get too deep for this. Barely fit, but don't play with me, period. You just follow behind the years.
On the 1st of January 2023, by the way, happy late New Year's, you guys. I hope you guys had a good and safe New Year's. While I wish and hope y'all had a lit ass New Year's and all that, you feel me? Let me just take you through a little mini walkthrough what we have just already witnessed in the short couple of games we've seen to start us off for this New Year's. Steven Adams set the season high for an offensive rebounds with 13 offensive rebounds and finishing the game with a total of 23 rebounds in a 10-point victory over the Sacramento Kings, which would make that game his 4th time this season getting 10 or more offensive rebounds. Even more impressive is that he did this against the league's leading rebounder in Sabonis, and he only had one less offensive rebound in their entire starting lineup, with Ja Morant just putting up a casual 35, 8, and 5 assists while only hitting 1 3 on the night. It just feels like the normal 20 nowadays, you feel what I'm saying? I mean, 35, whoop-de-doo, you think you're good? Oh yeah, in that same night, that 6'11", 285-pound man who plays the center position for the Denver Nuggets and currently the 3rd leader in assists per game. Well, that same night, he put up a stat line of 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 12 assists while only missing 3 shots and had 0 turnovers against the top 10 defensive team in the Boston Celtics, who currently hold the best record in the NBA. The very next day, you got LeBron dropping 43, 11, and 6 in 40 minutes of action at 38 years old, following his birthday game where he damn near had a 50-point triple-double, and continues to humiliate men who are almost half his age. And with LeBron officially turning 38 years old and well into his 20th season in the NBA, this would really mark him already spending half his lifespan as an NBA player. That being said, that same night was also followed by 2 other 40 pieces from Joel Embiid in a victory to the New Orleans Pelicans. By the way, get well soon, Zion, who was definitely on track to getting himself an efficient 30-point night at the very least, as he finished the game with 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 10 for 12 from the field. He's definitely been a man on a mission in his past few games, and while we're speaking of a man who's been on a mission in their past few games, Thompson also scored 54 points in a double overtime thriller against the Atlanta Hawks. And did I mention this nigga shot 21 threes as an individual? Like, damn, this nigga like shooting threes. And that's without even me mentioning his explosion in November when he went against Houston and hit 10 of 13 threes. And prior to January, in the month of December, we've already seen 4 individual performances by NBA players in which they hit 10 or more threes in a single game. And in every single one of those performances, those players shot above 60% from beyond the arc. But aside from all of that, you know what overshadowed all of this greatness in one night? When this man Donovan Mitchell woke up and decided to choose violence over peace and generated over 90 points for his team in an overtime win against the Chicago Bulls. Mitchell putting on one of the greatest performances NBA fans have ever witnessed in the history of the sport itself, where he gets a career high 71 points and is 2 rebounds shy of a triple-double with 11 assists. And while I know there is a countless amount of videos on the internet and around NBA media on how incredible this night was, along with another handful of some of those videos going into even more detailed about how phenomenal that night was on more of a possession-to-possession basis, in this video I'm gonna just keep it short. The man had 71 points and generated over 40 points for his team in a second half effort, which they were trailing to the Chicago Bulls. And he oddly hit a similar game-tying shot after a free throw to send it to overtime. That was very resemblant of what Luka did when he got his 60-point triple-double, which is Very odd, I might say. And while it might be a lane violation, hey man, I don't blame the rest, my nigga. My condolences to Chicago fans, especially with how this season is going. But even the refs and NBA ratings knew we had to see another quarter to that game, because goddamn, you feel me? And the fact that this type of historic performance came from a player that is arguably not even a top 10 player in the NBA goes as even more evidence of how many talented stars are in today's league. I mean, niggas don't even mention DeRozan had 44, and Mitchell only had taken 2 more shots than him. You feel me? But yeah, I forgot to mention DeRozan did score 44 that night too. The following night, Giannis decided it was get back gang, not set back gang, seeing all his MVP candidates put up these historic nights, in which he decided to take that personally and drop a career high on the shitty Wizards with a stat line of 55, 10, and 7. And props to the man on his accuracy from the charity stripe, as he shot 15 for 16 from the line. OKC gives Boston another tough loss where they managed to muster up 150 points as a team without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. As a team, they shot 59% from the field and 50% from 3. And not to mention, they had 7 players score double figures, with 5 of those players scoring an efficient 20 piece. The following night, Kevin Durant then drops a new season high 44 points on the Chicago Bulls in a loss to end their 12-game winning streak. Sadiq Bey and Klay Thompson both hit some of the toughest clutch 3-point shots I've ever seen in a back-to-back sequence in the NBA in some time now. Not only did Klay Thompson finish with another 30-piece in this game, but the Pistons are also now responsible for giving the Warriors another L on their amazing home record. On a calm Thursday night, Lauri Markkanen decides to drop a career-high 49 points on the Houston Rockets, a team that deadass be on the wrong side of some amazing performances this season. And then Levine torches an Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers while going for a season-high 41 points while shooting 11 for 13 on 3-point attempts, alongside both Nicolas putting up an impressive triple-double stat line in their victories in the same night as well. With all of this being said and all of these impressive stat lines being put up in this past week alone, it leads the question for some NBA fans to really wonder if this is coming from a lack of effort on the defensive end from players around the league, a hyper influx of talent that has now been entering the league in the past few seasons, or is it players being more adaptable than ever and evolving their games to adjust to the game-changing rules that have taken place in the NBA. Nowadays, a flagrant foul can be called when a defender jumps into a shooter's landing spot. And even analytics have just proven more and more that the most efficient shot in basketball nowadays is either getting a 3-point shot up or getting to the basket and getting an opportunity to shoot free throws. And to be honest, in my opinion, I think it's a combination of all of those things. But I do think we're past the era where players are just relying solely on their best players to ISO as a best case scenario for a team's offense. And it's a lot more of a team-oriented thing nowadays. You now have big men who are able to stretch the floor and initiate the team's offense, and also guards who are more athletic than ever and able to actually get buckets more than just be in their pass first role as they were 20 to 30 years ago. I do firmly believe that we are in a unique golden era of the NBA where positions in basketball have somewhat become meaningless and players are working on different areas of their game that are opposed to the traditional role that they used to be in over a decade ago. And in shorter words, due to an accumulation of all of those statements, it has definitely led to more of a common observance of seeing once upon a time a unique stat line of the triple-double, and where 40-point games now feel like the new 30. If we take a quick glance at the efficiency of some of these historic nights and the 30-point games that have taken place in this week alone, alongside the amount of triple doubles we've seen in a 7-day span, coming from all types of different positions around the league. And while some of the changes that have been happening more consistently may be more annoying to the NBA fans' perspective, such as the foul baiting tactics, the random resting of key players, and the over-reliance on 3-point jumpers, it is becoming harder and harder to reject the idea that we are witnessing the most talented era of NBA basketball that has ever been seen before. Especially now that we're escaping an era where dynasties rule the NBA and there would only be a handful of NBA teams that were really heavily expected to make the finals. Now it's kind of like 1 through 9 seed can really have the potential to make a deep playoff run, depending on the matchup. Even when you look at a team like the Phoenix Suns, who literally were removed from a finals run 2 seasons ago and a number 1 seed last year, they are sitting at a 7th spot in the Western Conference on a 500 record, and they are tied with teams like Portland and Golden State And given that that is due to injury, CP3 aging, and just chemistry things within the organization, still doesn't make it any less impressive that they're only 6.5 games from the first spot. And basically the same story can be told about the parity around the league in both conferences. Even when you look at a team with a lackluster future and present like the Washington Wizards, you still can't deny that they have one of the better scorers in the league in Bradley Beal and two talented borderline all-star pieces in Kuzma and Porzingis. When looking at some of the bottom of the barrel teams from each conference, you can look at some of their rosters and see some of the young generational talent they have that could potentially blossom into some talent that will make their teams more competitive in their future. And I know I don't have to remind y'all about how close this MVP race is, because there is really no telling at this point in the season who's even going to win that award. In all, yes, defenses are consistently going to be playing catch up to a league full of athletes who are adding anything they can to be as close to an all-around player as they can be, with even role players developing a deeper bag of tricks and unlimited access to resources that can only make them better as a player, but also gain a better understanding on how to manipulate the NBA rules to maximize their level of efficiency on a possession-to-possession basis. With the rise of awareness and analytics from NBA organizations, that definitely has played its part in that as well. Hence why the pick and roll is the most popular play in basketball, and why the most efficient shots in the NBA today are considered shots at the basket or three-point attempts. And guess what? Players are only getting more athletic, and teams are continuing to prioritize the three-point shot within their offenses more consistently. We are sitting in a perfect mix of the NBA, where there are players that are prolonging their primes, there are players that are entering their primes, and there are players that haven't even scratched the surface of the potential players that they could become. You have young players like the LaMelo Balls, the Anthony Edwards, the Cade Cunninghams, the Pawalos of the world, who are still young and very talented given their age. And then you have players that are entering their primes. If you want to add Luka to that discussion, Jason Tatum, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, Embiid. And then you have the other handful of players that are prolonging their primes or finding a different way to be efficient in their primes, such as the Chris Pauls, the DeMar DeRozan, the James Hardens, the LeBron, the Stephen Currys, the KDs. As of right now, we have almost 45 NBA players averaging 20 plus points, 17 players averaging over 25, and 6 players in the NBA currently averaging 30, with 5 of those 6 players shooting 50% or better from the field, with the exception of Tatum. And let's just say, if you're an NBA fan, what a time it is to be alive. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And if you ain't brand new, welcome back. It's been Swervo Hoops talking about some hoops, and you know we get litty in this section. As we just hit 100 subscribers yesterday, I appreciate all of you for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel when you guys enjoy the video. And while it is kind of a small milestone for now, we definitely plan on taking over bigger things in 2023. Till then, I'll see y'all, man. Y'all be easy.